I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today I am joined by this stupid Welsh country bumpkin, apparently George Costanza looking bitch, motherfucker, Bespin Bulletin. Sorry,
I'm
did I
not good at
embellish it?
all.
Did I embellish it too much?
No, that's very accurate. It's probably
Okay.
the most accurate description of myself I've ever heard. So,
See, that's what I like about the Welsh accent is you guys say "heerd." I tried to like,
oh, I hear, yeah,
yeah, I heard, and then over here we say I heard,
I
like
heard.
like
Oh, okay.
I've been herding sheep, I've been herding cattle. So
I'm
yeah,
trying to
but
think of what English people say. English people say heard as well, right? They don't say heard.
I think they say I've heard.
I've
I
heard,
don't.
heard.
Yeah, probably. I don't
Yeah.
know. It is it's some Hermione Granger stuff. That's all I know. So, I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. But today we got like a rumor and from the Mandalorian's third season, and like honestly, it's something that like has come up through
Mm,
trusted like places several times, but also like never like with empirical evidence, which is what I'll talk about when I get to the article. But it's strangely backed up by something that when I woke up today, I didn't even know was a thing. You
yeah, I
know,
texted you about this morning. It's like,
yeah, you
well,
you
this,
told me,
this.
yeah, and like yesterday. So this is our chat from yesterday. He gave me permission to show this, but it's like so. This is yesterday, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
says this is you saying, I love to be able to draw, but I'm an untalented piece of crap. You dropping McKidd and Trooper today? And I said, most likely McKidd. And then, so then you said, doing the Trooper separately then? And then you said, just saw YouTube is going up $8. And I said, bitches, they are bitches. And then I said, yeah, the McKidd story was 300 words. The Trooper story was 300 words. So I'm breaking them up. And,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you weren't supposed to say that at the top there, but there you go. There's a freebie for you all. So yeah, but this story ends up being sort of backed up by this other bit that I'm just going to jump the line here because it's not necessarily a smoking gun anyways, but it's a good sign. And this is from promobricks.de, and I got this from their Instagram.
Mm.
And the Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor, 957 pieces, the 1st of May 2023. And they say, from what we've heard or heard, the
Yeah,
set will
yeah.
be unveiled on April 25th, which is the Tuesday after the last Mandalorian episode. Accordingly, it will probably be based on exactly this last episode and depict a fight from the finale. So we can also expect the potential inclusion of some spoiler heavy characters. Those who follow the Star Wars leaks might know what we're talking about. Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor is the official set name and not a description of the content. So it's not a misinterpretation of the included ship. We are definitely getting a Fang Fighter and not Bo-Katan ship. So there's that bit, okay?
I
Okay.
have been in touch with like some Lego people, and they
Yeah.
can't confirm if it's Fenn Rau in the set. They don't actually know currently, from the people I've spoken to.
So like as in they haven't even seen like the photo of the
No,
figure. Okay. Yeah. I would imagine that would leak before we get to the finale, right? Since the if it wait, will it be out by then, or was it coming? Is it coming out?
it's the Tuesday after the finale that they
Well,
show it, that they
yeah,
reveal
it'll
it,
be
and then it's
unveiled. So then
yeah,
we
then it
got
comes out in May,
in
like
May. Okay,
officially.
okay.
Chances
So
are that the figures and whatever will leak earlier. It
yeah,
has with the other sets. This like the one came out recently, right? The pirate ship.
right,
So
right. Yeah, the old dang pirate man. All right. So this is the story. In case anybody is lost because it's been jumping around. The rumor is Kevin McKidd returns as Fenn Rau in Star Wars: The Mandalorian's third season. Now, I heard this earlier, heard it early on, then kind of left it alone, and then it's come up again. And so I figured life was like, well, let's just get into it, you know? And like I was saying, like in the top of this, and what I imply in the article is I don't really like doing casting stuff that much. It's not my favorite, cup of tea.
mhm.
And like Lars Mikkelsen is Thrawn, and he's saying he's not Thrawn when he is. And Jamie Lee Curtis was cast as the witch in the Ahsoka episode, and then other things came up like the Halloween franchise, and she had to jump, and she was far as costume fittings on that. And then we lost Jamie Lee Curtis, and so it's like I had that as like a thing ready to go. Actually, I did put that out, and then she was like she couldn't do the role. So I just don't really like doing that stuff. That's why this one is kind of sat dormant until now, and I actually feel a lot better about the article now that the Lego thing is hit, though, to be honest, too. So
we've been going back and forth on this for about a week, but we've been going back and forth on this for a while. Like,
it keeps coming back up. So
this isn't anything new. This isn't informed by the Lego thing. It's just helpful that the Lego thing has happened, because it just reaffirms the story that we're running.
Yeah. And I'm going to embed the Lego brick thing in the article after the show. So I have a fun casting rumor for you all today. If you've been following me over the years, I don't really like reporting on casting news too much. I mean, sometimes things change, Curtis. Sometimes the actors just lie about their involvement, Nicholson. That causes headaches for me, and so forth. Over the last year, I've heard this rumor so often, I feel there's much smoke. There's so much smoke, there's fire. I usually prefer empirical evidence over tangential evidence, but here we are, and I find what's that?
Empirical evidence.
Oh yeah, right. I know. I have a feeling that Star Wars people think it means like the Empire and not like visual. But anyways, over tangential evidence, and here we are, and I find this one very fun. So let's dig into it. I feel like I was doing a little YouTubey there. Let's dig in. I hate that.
You use one of my words, I think, in this article as well.
Which one?
Gaggle.
Oh, gaggle. Yeah, you're rubbing off on me. I hear there's a gaggle. Train Spotting alumni Kevin McKidd is following Ewan McGregor into live-action Star Wars on Disney+. McKidd and McGregor both played disaffected youth addicted to heroin in 1997's groundbreaking film Train Spotting. McGregor would go on to play Obi-Wan Kenobi in 3 prequel films and a Disney Plus series, whereas McKidd voiced a Mandalorian character named Fenn Rau in 7 episodes of Disney XD Star Wars Rebels. Now, several sources have confirmed Kevin McKidd will be making the same jump Katie Sackhoff did with Bo-Katan and bringing his Mandalorian Fenn Rau from animation to live action in Star Wars Mandalorian's 3rd season. My friend, Star Wars Meg, also heard Kevin McKidd was spotted on set last year. That's in a video of hers. I couldn't honestly find the video, but I know she said it. In Star Wars Rebels, we learned Fenn Rau. Oh, and by the way, there's people on like Twitter going like, refresh me who this is. And it's like, read the fucking article, In Star Wars Rebels, we learned Fenn Rau is from the Mandalorian planet Concord Dawn. He had a gaggle of Mandos called the Protectors, who are all wiped out except for Rau, which, by the way, I added that little all wiped out except for Rau bit when we talked this morning. After you said it, they're all wiped out except for Rau. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So I added that. As Rau interacted with Kanan Jarrus, Caleb Doom, we learned they once fought together during the 3rd Battle of Megiddo in the Clone Wars. Over the long course of the story, Rau has a deep hatred for the evil Gar Saxon and becomes a reluctant rebel. At first, he's like, oh, fuck you guys. I don't need you guys. I'm doing my own shit, just trying to get by. And then he's kind of forced into becoming one. I think he's actually held prisoner by the rebels for like a year or two. Anyways, Rau is a follower of the old ways in the series. When Saxon attempts to exterminate Sabine Wren's house, it is Rau who aids the Jedi and helps save Sabine's family. Over the course of the series, Rau becomes a stone-faced hero. McKidd is playing a character with deep lore in the Star Wars universe. Fenn Rau fought alongside Depa Billaba for a time during a battle during the Clone Wars, which I mentioned above. And now we have seen him play a part in the unification of Mandalore as more wayward Mandalorians are encountered, probably because of the news that the planet is in fact habitable. Kevin McKidd is a great addition to an already stellar cast put together for the Disney Plus series. I love seeing Tommy from Train Spotting in an important part of the Star Wars story. This isn't to say he hasn't had a great career. Clearly, the man has, if you check out his IMDb. But Train Spotting is one of the best movies of the second half of the 1990s, and it gave us Ewan McGregor after all. And then I say, I'd love to hear your theories. You can become a channel member to support the show and the site, become a Patreon supporter if you just want to collectively support the channel and the site. And we're on podcast formats everywhere, so there you go. But yeah, so we did it. It's that story is out. What are your? Do you have any thoughts on it? You have
Well, I think
anything brewing in your
well, I think
brains?
yeah, it feels like a no-brainer to me, right? To have Fenn Rau be in addition to what we think is the finale, what we anticipate will happen on Mandalore by the end of the season. Like you said, he's the last surviving member of the Mandalorian Protectors. He's working with the rebellion. He has ties to Bo-Katan, ties to Mandalore, ties to the Darksaber. I think he'd be an important presence for that finale and the unification once again of Mandalore because they're all splintered right now.
Right.
You know, he came together with Sabine Wren, right, and Clan Renford, and he was happy with her, reunited Mandalore under her rule. Obviously, later on, she passed on to Bo-Katan, and again, he's in support of that.
Right.
So to see that once again would feel fitting to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could go further in terms of his character could potentially connect Sabine or connect to Sabine, and we could sort of see these characters sort of like having a social 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of like connections throughout the shows where you're like, oh yeah, here we go. Oh, I know that guy from the other show and stuff like I don't know if he's in Ahsoka.
but no, but again, it would make sense if he was, given that he is working with the rebellion or
right.
has, his ties to Sabine. And some people pointed out that, oh, maybe the fan fighter means Sabine. I was like, if Sabine's going to show up, it's more than likely she'd show up with the Ghost, and the Ghost crew. Fenn Rau makes the most sense, I think, in this scenario. And even with those Lego bricks guys, they're pretty good at reporting what they do.
So over the years, they've been. I don't feel like I've ever been like, oh, Lego bricks let me down. They're always pretty on with what they do.
Yeah, so if they've heard a fan fighter, that's only helpful to us who've been during McKidd is in this as Fenn Rau for a while.
Yeah.
It's just the more recent weeks you've had a bit more solid evidence on it from various sources, and this just reaffirms that. That's only helpful to us. And I can say, we've had conversations for a while about McKidd. It's not he woke up this morning and was like, "Oh, Lego put it out. I'm going to do this story." This was supposed to be yesterday. This was supposed to be yesterday's article.
And I almost did it earlier in the year, but then was like, I don't know. But yeah, it came back up. I took a trip, like I said, last week. And on that trip, heard some more things. And
yeah,
so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go forward with it. And I was gonna do it on Friday and then I was like, I don't feel like it. And then when I got into the art yesterday, and then I was like, oh, you know what? We got the art, man. Let's go with the art. I was just more pumped for that yesterday, or this would have been flipped. But I feel like at this point, I mean, in reality, with as much stuff as we've done over the years, it's like I really should just be able to say that and not have to be like, please believe me. Please believe me. But
we always get questioned. We always do. It doesn't matter what we've done. You've been doing this for longer than me. You've been doing this 10 years.
Yeah.
But people are always going to ask silly questions and question us. I suppose.
I also suppose on one hand it keeps us sort of toned. We're not toned here, but we're toned there.
We're not toned physically.
Not physically, but Star Warsly, pretty toned, pretty ripped. Kind of like the Hans and Franz of Star Wars, I'd say. Star Wars scoops.
Yeah. In reality, we're like Max Rebo,
Yeah, and we're sort of like George Costanza Clone Wars.
I would like
the clone template.
We need to put Jamie Alexander in a Star Wars.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a not that we can't go back to it or continue talking about, but there was a story. We had Azatru on. Before we started, we're like, oh cool, Azatru's here. It's like what a weird show. That's rad. We're happy to see him. And then it turns out Jedi Survivor. Some news came out that there's going to be a trailer pretty soon.
In 3 days, I think he said.
In 3 days. I'm trying to see if I could pull it up.
I have no real excitement for that game at the moment. I'm going to get it regardless.
Yeah.
I'm picking it up. but it hasn't sold me on the marketing. Same thing the Mandalorian didn't, but I'm enjoying Mandalorian. There's nothing against that. I'm not who you need to sell this to. I'm going to be
Yeah,
there day one. So hopefully that
yeah,
trailer's good.
yeah. I'm. It's kind of weird because the original game,
Hmm.
I wasn't actually excited for it at all. I almost didn't even get it. And then my son was like, "Oh, that looks cool, Dad." I was like, "Okay,
Hmm.
fine." You know. So I was like, "It's like you don't really have to push me too hard to do something Star Wars." And so then we went and bought it. And then after I played the game, or as I was going through, I'm like, "Oh, this is actually like kind of a special game, kind of a special story. It's very much more cinematic than I thought." And so I feel like the way I'm feeling is exactly the way I felt before. So I'm hoping
Right.
it means when I play the game, I feel that way. But also, it's a weird. There's a weird. Uh, there's a weird collection of things in this game that give it like a different vibe, and I don't know how if I like it or not.
Right.
Like there's like the concept of like a High Republic era Jedi who's been on thought or frozen or awoken, like that's cool. But then when I kind of see that guy, I'm like, that guy kind of looks like a dork.
Yeah.
That's, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? He kind of looks like would be playing hockey on top of the roof of the clerk's store, as
Hmm.
opposed to looking fucking cool. At least that's how it looks to me, like in those first glimpses. So I'm not too cynical, but I'm hoping for the best, and I
I have
plan
faith
on
it'll be a
playing
good
it.
game.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good game regardless. Like Respawn are fantastic developers, a great studio. Obviously what they did with the last game, but also what they did with Titanfall 2 specifically. Obviously they said most of them guys over there they worked on the original Modern Warfare line
Hmm.
for Call of Duty. And they're regarded as some of the best, first person shooters ever made. Like not just in terms of
Yeah.
multiplayer, but in terms of a story. So I have no doubt that these guys will deliver something pretty great. It's just marketing wise for me, it hasn't done its job, but it doesn't need to with me. You don't need to sell me on Star Wars. I'm buying all
Yeah.
the crap.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
um,
It's those like 14-year-olds that might watch Star Wars, might not, but like that need to get pumped for the game itself, and then they get into Star Wars or and end up appreciating it. That's who they really need to be selling it to,
I think it's
I
smart
think.
that they've only put it on the current gen, so only like PS5, Xbox Series X, and S, because I know people who've bought a PS5 or an Xbox purely for this game.
Hmm.
This motivated them to go and buy a PS5 and like move up to the new generation.
Yeah.
Um, and hopefully that means it's not going to be held back at all
Right.
by the limitations of the last gen hardware, which is only again a positive for the game. And the attach rate for current generation consoles and games, like games come out just for them, is really high. So I think this, even though skipping PS4 and Xbox One, I think it's going to sell like gangbusters. It's going to be like probably one of the best selling games of the year, just like the Fallen Order itself was. You
Right.
know,
Right.
so
Yeah. Oh, hey, look who it is. Dr. Roboto.
Sorry, I was getting muffin tops.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, we're just talking. They announced that the Survivor trailer is going to come in about 3 days. I think they said.
Oh,
mhm.
nice.
Yeah, so we'll have another look at that, so we could gauge it
How are you
different.
feeling about that, Rob?
Yeah,
You excited for Survivor?
what are you gonna play it on, Rob? If you do play it.
I gotta be honest, man. This is so much like Zelda. I can't play 2 Zelda games in a year.
Well,
I'll watch. I'll be watching this game. So
is it like yeah? The question though, is it actually like Zelda, or did they just throw in like two Zelda mechanics and are like it's like Zelda? You know what I mean?
pretty.
That's
I
kind of
have
the question
such
I have.
little time. It's too close at this point. Like it's the
Yeah,
hang gliding that got me. So it's not a bad game. I'll get to it. Like if it's great later, but I'll probably just watch streams. So
yeah, yeah. And anybody who hasn't played the first game, you can watch like movie edits of it on YouTube that are
right.
entertaining. It's good. I don't like watching video games. I don't go on Twitch and just like watch someone play Nintendo. I'm not that guy. I'm not a 9-year-old kid. Not my thing. But that
And
game is so cinematic. If you when it's cut right, when you just cut out like the puzzle solving stuff, it plays like a movie.
I'll tell you what would be an instant sell for me, like regardless, would be if I could really create my own character. I'm a nerd like that. Like if I can make my own character, it bumps higher up on that list. So,
Yeah.
it's
Chris
fine. Yeah, but
Breezy gave me
I mean, I'm excited
$5
though, because
super
I think
$5 super chat, and he
think
said, "I just want the bad guy to have white gold robes." That guy.
I do
So,
think the CGI and the storytelling's pretty good. Like, it's the kind of tone I wish the more of the action figure live action stuff would follow.
yeah.
Yeah.
It would be interesting if they gave the people that were responsible for directing that game a chance, if they wanted it, to do something on Disney Plus, because they directed those cutscenes are well directed. Like it's
Yeah.
better directed than some of the Disney Plus stuff we've had, and so wouldn't mind if that happened. I don't know who directed it. I should know because I think they're talented, but
Wasn't it Stig? Was his name Stig?
oh yeah, there is a guy named Stig. Yeah, is that his real name?
I think that's his real name. Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Like, when I don't even know what he looks like, but I imagine like he has like a fucking like mohawk, and like he has like a skateboard, and he's like that guy from remember Skate or Die?
Of course.
He's like the shop owner of Skate or Die, and he's like, "What's up, guys? I'm Stig." I'm like, "Hey, Stig, I'm having a problem. This bully's messing with me." And Stig's like, "You gotta fuck him up." I'm like, "Thanks, Stig. Now I know what to do."
To this day, anytime I see an empty pool, I want to battle.
When I was like a really small kid, I had like really young parents, and my dad used to take me to Paramount Skate Park, where which used to be a bunch of pools, and it turned into a skate park. And I just used to like watch my dad skateboard, but he would sit me on the skateboard and just push. I would sit on it and go down the fucking swimming pools. Totally dangerous. I'd never do that to my kids, but that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me.
Explains a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of a stunt
Baby
man.
on skateboard, dude.
Yeah, I have a picture too somewhere of me like sitting on it. Like, I have the helmet on and stuff, but it's still insane.
Maybe they thought you were handicapped too, because that helmet was a big deal back in the day. It's a twofer, right? Like, you got
Maybe
special needs baby on a skateboard in the most dangerous park. I don't know, man. The skateboarding, that was one of those things.
I'll
where
let you dig that hole, Rob. I'm not gonna play in it.
I'm telling you, I don't think it's funny, but I can see, you got to understand, man. Like, the 80s, people let their kids, regardless, do real stupid shit. Like, I had my cousin had, I say my cousin because I consider my buddy like family, but his cousin had Down syndrome, and that kid, they let him do everything because they didn't know how long he was going to live. You know what I mean? So it was like, he was like, "I want to go bungee jumping." I'm like, "No fucking way, I'm bungee jumping." This kid would put on a cape, and they'd give him the money, and I'm like, he's like, "You don't want to go." He's still alive, by the way. Like, but they, for some reason, in the 80s,
was gonna say, I was like, if you want him to live his full life, maybe the bungee jumping is something that will not help him live longer.
The 80s were full of logic, Jason.
Yeah.
Something to say though about like the game though. It is cool that I think we're gonna get something from Star Wars this year that's probably the least divisive, from the fans. You know what I mean? Which is something that I just think every fandom needs, right? Like, needs something that's just overall pretty fucking awesome. And I'm just a big fan of Respawn, so I know they took a hit recently, with the canceled game. So I hope it's a big win for them.
Yeah, and also though too, like, follow-ups to a huge hit sometimes are hard because people remember things better than they were. Once they've decided something's good, it gets elevated. Like if this game actually, I think, has to be better than the first game, or it's going to be
funny about that.
treated as being received as if it was worse. It's weird.
Here's my one like worry, right? And I don't know what it could be yet. It may be because of Elden Ring, but so I've been watching the Psychonauts 2 documentary, right? And up in the beginning of the documentary, they're designing and getting back into the gameplay. And the platforming in the original Psychonauts was not always the greatest, and they knew that at the time. It was hard for them at the time. But Tim Schafer, the creator of Psychonauts, had a Double Fine. He goes, "Yeah, man, we got this run and jump and stuff, but Zelda had just come out. It was like 2017, Breath of the Wild. And he's like, it's really fun to glide around, and we don't have that. It's like that gliding thing changed adventure games for folks. Like, Once
like
you
it.
take, once that game has it, if you make an adventure game that don't have a phone function, everyone's gonna fucking complain it doesn't have that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like that sort of thing weighs on your mind. Do I add something like that because everyone's gonna fucking talk about what they didn't get? Or do I focus on, you know, what the game needs to be, you know, and if that's something that can fit in there, great. But if not, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just one of the
Yeah.
things, like, if you have like a semi-open world area and people have been playing the shit out of Elden Ring, will they want more Elden Ring mechanics when they play this game? Or I don't know, you know, like, I'm not saying Elden Ring, but is there some missing thing that's happened in the last 4 or 5 years since the last game that gamers don't realize until they play another new game, kind of thing? You know, I was wondering.
Yeah, I kind of like how, in from what we've heard, like with this game, it's like it's sort of like when you do the gliding thing, you're grabbing onto a creature, I believe. And then
Yeah.
but then it's like they didn't just make it where like that's the only creature you could grab onto, or that you could like you're able to like actually ride mounts and stuff.
You
So
whip
it's
out a
like
Minoc from your wallet, you know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
right.
But they've made it where like the actual like environment is interactive, and then as well as like creatures and stuff. So like that's kind of cool
You've also
because in the
got a-
first there was that giant like dog thing, and we didn't really get to interact with it too much.
You also got that grappling hook thing in this game, which makes you look like Spider-Man.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
Or I
But
like the grappling hook on Uncharted 4 a lot. Like, I don't think
Mm.
anyone's beaten that grapple hook mechanic, you know, just the feel of it. You know, like for me, like it's kind of like the top tier grappling hook. I was afraid they were going to create a glide saber. Like, you know, you just pull it out like a lightsaber, but it turns into a
Helicopter
glider.
saber.
It's a glide saber. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was my.
If they would
Look
bring
at
in the
that.
helicopter saber into this, I would be all about it. I would be very excited.
this
Like
is
I'm
where it
not.
belongs.
This is where
If
it
anywhere,
belongs.
yeah.
Yeah. I just hope they make Cal Kestis better as a lead protagonist. I just
Mhm.
think he's such a wet blanket. Like he's the least interesting character in that game, for me at
Thank you.
least.
Do
No,
you
I agree.
think is that a product of trying not to imprint too bold of a personality, so that way the player feels that they have some agency in the story even though they really don't? Is that maybe why that happened that way, you think, or is it just the character is not well done?
I think it's just the character's not well done, personally.
Yeah,
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 it
It's,
because
falls more into that stoic sort of like, you
Mhm.
know, he's got all that talent and power, but if he would just try, you know, and you're just like, all right, man, guess now he's trying, now it's working, but maybe it won't. I don't know. There's something a little
oh,
generic about it. It's not bad, but it's like when I think of like, and I don't know, like even Solid Snake in the first Metal Gear, the first one, Metal Gear Solid,
Mhm.
right? So not the first, technically the second or third one, depending on how you look at it, but on Metal Gear Solid was enough non-personality with just enough for it to not be generic. Like he was a little, there's something wise at, there's something wise assy about him, but it wasn't over the top, you know. And it was just enough. And he was quiet enough because he had that look that he didn't have to talk like Zelda. Or I mean Link, you know. So I don't
when
know. I just go ahead.
when Disney Plus lets me do my Cobb Vanth movie, I'm gonna make him Bionic Commando. Remember that grappling hook? That was a good one. Mm-hmm.
Hot dog arms.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, wiener
you're talking
arms.
about the NES version, but I'm talking about the 360 hot dog arms.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I played that one too. The question I have for Bespin though, if you could answer this huge
Okay.
story scoop,
Yeah.
does Fenn Rau happen
Mm.
to wear white and gold Jedi robes in Mandalorian season 3?
I
A
gotta
friend
break
wants to
Chris's
know.
heart. Yeah, I
A
gotta
friend
break
wants to
Chris
know.
his heart. I don't think it's possible. I'm
Okay.
sorry. You know.
Bespin, a friend
Mhm.
wants to know if you've heard of any new names in David Lindelof's Star Wars. Like,
Mm. Mm. Well, that's the thing. We gotta look back at his past projects, see, Rob. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we've got to bring in Yahya Abdul-Mateen. We've got to
Mm-hmm.
bring in Evangeline Lilly. You know, from
Okay.
Lost. We've
Okay.
got to go back in time. George Clooney from Tomorrowland.
I just like how she's still known for something 20 years ago. Like John Ritter from Three's Company. Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No one else from Lost is getting that attached to their name, by the way. Like, yeah, I even say Linda Lost and people forget about that. You
Yeah.
know?
No.
Yeah.
Well, at least Snyder did answer Chris's question this week. You
And
know,
it
it was a
was
quick quick response, but it got answered. You know,
Well, wait, I mean, he can't lie to Chris, right? I
you
mean,
can't lie to
Chris asked him, what did he ask him?
if he's had an update on the names attached to Lindelof's project.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I just asked Bespin, Jason. That was the joke.
Okay.
Yeah, it was
no,
that
no,
question.
but you told it in a joke for him. I'm trying to clarify.
Okay, he asked if he heard of any new names. Let me say the exact same words without the smirk.
Yeah.
He heard if there is any new names attached to the Damon Lindelof Star Wars.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna tell Chris. I was like, to be honest, I think he needs to ask him when he does ask him. He just needs to be like, "Hey, you got any Star Wars news?"
Yeah.
Because
we talked about it yesterday, right?
Yeah, because if he has actual news about one of the biggest movie probably, or one of the biggest movies of 2025, he's not gonna not report it because Chris didn't ask him. He's gonna drop
shucks, I could have posted that today.
Yeah, but he also, but I mean, he did go on and kind of touch upon what me and Bespin have been saying, and that's that there was some behind the scenes issues with Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
production issues.
Yeah,
to which he fairly said, anytime there's a lot of money, there's production issues on every freaking thing. But
yeah,
you've
he was
been
doing
more
it
specific though.
Yeah. It was. This goes a much. It's wider. This is unique. Like, I mean, I've been reporting on Star Wars stuff since The Force Awakens, and really before that, if you want to get down to Star Wars Rebels, and stuff like that, like what happened on Skeleton Crew is unique in the larger scheme of things. Even in the productions that, like, where people got fired, it wasn't like that.
Yeah, because we hear things all the time from regarding certain people who work on those shows that we just keep to ourselves because it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
there's a lot of egos involved. There's a lot of not great people. But when stuff happened with Mandalorian season 3, because I even told you about that, and I was like, well, it's nothing to really write home about yet. And then when Skeleton Crew happened and shit really hit the fan, it was like, well, something needs to be done.
Yeah,
something needs to be said at this point. But hopefully, like, if more word spreads about it, that if there's a follow-up season for Skeleton Crew or whatever the next production is, things are easier for the people who get to work on it, which is always our intention.
Yeah, that was kind of the philosophical question that me and Bespin were talking about yesterday. Was like, this kind of needed to be out there when the problems were there during the production, and now that the production's over, kind of, is there value in it being brought back up?
Yeah, he brought it up because I think people have been trying to give him some shit, like, because he mentioned that the Marvels is a shit show, and said some things about Brie Larson, and people have just wrongly, I think, harped on him, and he was like, well, there's a lot of men in the industry who are assholes, and he brought up Skeleton Crew and John Watts, which is, tracks. So
yeah,
and men can be assholes too,
and I'm of the opinion that if John Watts turns in a really great fucking Star Wars product at the end of the day, and some feelings had to be hurt, so be it, to some extent. As long as it wasn't abusive, as long as it's not like that guy from Avengers, like,
I've worked for shitty fucking art directors, and I worked for abusive,
Yeah.
And there's a real difference. There's a real difference. So.
Hey, I'm like, Shelley Duvall, does she have to have some mental issues for me to get The Shining? So be it. That's what I say. I'm kind of kidding. I'm a little bit kidding. If you're gonna make art, there's some fucking pain in there, but
I'm not throwing shade at Shelley Duvall, but I sincerely believe her Olive Oil is her best role. I genuinely love that movie.
Do you believe that she's talking to Robin Williams via Spaceship Beyond the Grave? That's a real thing. Like, that's a real thing.
Oh, Robin! Like, just like that,
Hello. All right, it's time for the As a Truth.
Well, there's a new Jedi Survivor trailer on Monday.
And
it's 1 minute 47 seconds long.
And how long? Wait, how long?
1 minute 47. So not very long, but I'd imagine it's mostly just like cutscenes and stuff, because that's
for
what
the
they did
people
for
that
Fallen
have
Order.
us. I'll interject and let you guys speak. But for the people who have us as background noise, I just want you to know there's two English-esque accents going on here. There's two separate people. If you're listening to the podcast, we got Azatru and we got Bespin.
Well, Azatru's from Nottingham, which is not London. Get that straight right now.
Americans think it's all mythical, Jason.
And then
they're not smart. They don't know the difference.
And then he's a Welshian. I believe that's what they're called, Welshians.
That's
Americans
accurate,
Americans are so stupid. We think public transportation is like a myth. You know, yeah.
I mean, I'm of the theory that all the accents kind of end up getting kind of combined once they go to Hogwarts. That's what I think happens. That's where like they kind of like that's like they're like Ellis Island. You know what I mean? That's where it all kind of like the melting pot happens.
Island. There's a monopoly in accents in the UK. What gets put on film? There's either the posh ones, which sounds like Daisy Ridley and Emma Watson, or there's the Cockney geezers like Jason Statham. Me and Azatru, we don't get put on the platforms. So
I do like when
you become a Cockney geezer as you get older. Is that something that you?
But Jason Statham's actually from near, like it's near here. Like he's from.
He's a faker. He's a phony.
Yeah. He's from a place called Shirebrook, which is like not too far. It's like in Derbyshire or whatever, Nottinghamshire.
We need to introduce him to Danny Dyer, a true Cockney geezer. That's what we need to do.
But sorry, but
I'm from.
Oh yeah, go on.
I'm from where they shot Willow, so
yeah,
I'm a country bumpkin.
You're Nelwyn, basically. You're big, tall Nelwyn.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there was we'll go to the game stuff really quickly, but before I forget, there was a big like Willow update that came from Kasdan, and he's like, "Hey guys, we just want you guys to know, like the show's not canceled. We're just letting the actors go do other things because we're writing it, and it's gonna take like a really long time." And we don't think it would be fair. And like I was talking to Max from Star Wars Post and I on Twitter, and I'm just like, this is like when somebody says we're not breaking up, but we're taking a break. No, you're getting dumped. The Disney Plus is like we're taking a break.
Yeah. He does blame the slowdown in how many streaming shows are being made, which is what me and you discussed the other day.
Yeah,
Jason,
this would be the first cut.
It's literally the Kurtz / Costanza move where he's just showing back up to work.
Yeah.
I
mean, so by the way, not to get derailed again, but yesterday when I was talking, we were talking about like, who would replace Kathleen Kennedy when she does go, because she's going to be 70 next year. And we're like, how long is somebody going to work into their 70s? And I was like, if she doesn't retire by 72, I think she's just going to stay there and then just die someday. I think she's just going to stay there until she dies. And but now I'm starting to think that maybe Kasdan is going to have her lick some envelopes, poison her.
Oh no,
and she's going to die. And then
people
that's
who don't
how
watch Seinfeld are going to think you're serious, Jason.
Yeah, and then he's gonna like put Willow back on the slate, and then we're gonna get the next season.
That actress could play a Kathleen Kennedy. Like I'm looking at her now, right
she
in my
could
head.
Play Kathleen Kennedy.
She could.
Yeah, they
she
hated
really
her too.
Could.
They hated her. I heard.
Yeah, they hated her. Like she really could pull that one off.
Okay, all right, Azatru. Back to the game stuff because you're the game guy. And you got the game stuff. So you're saying that's like a minute 30 or whatever, which is
minute 47s. Yeah,
47.
So it's mostly just going to be, I'd imagine, cutscenes, which is good. They did share a clip. It's doesn't tell us anything because it's just the mantis crashing, like coming down from the sky and almost crashing. Then it cuts out. So we already know the mantis crashes anyway. Like that's not new information, but
that's what we opened on in that one.
Yeah,
clip
yeah.
on
So
the inside.
that's yeah. So it's probably just mostly going to be cutscenes. Like, they probably might put like a couple of small gameplay clips in there, but at least it's good because we haven't got much story details. We haven't seen many locations outside of Kobo, and that's what people want. So, so yeah, that's out on Monday at 9 a.m. PT. So,
yeah,
pretty
British
good.
time,
I'm surprised it's
please.
before 4 p.m. our time. So
very good, thank you.
Yeah. So I thought this was going to be the one that drops during Celebration. Because it's like like they're promoting it, like they're doing all the live streams, but maybe there'll be something else there. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to next week.
I will watch it. I've already bought the game, so it's like they kind of already won.
And today, well, to be fair, I can understand why they dropped the announcement today. It should have came out today. The game was so it's 6 weeks today. The game will be out.
Oh, okay. So today's that day when the hardcores are like, we're supposed to be playing Survivor right now, man.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of TikToks about it today.
Really?
Will
Really?
we?
Yeah.
Chris
Yeah.
says, will we see the High Republic guy? I hope so, because he's been absent since the trailer back in December. So I think they may allude to him a little bit more because he's been completely absent for now. So
As a
maybe
will,
he's the big secret.
will
Go on.
that High Republic guy wear white and gold Jedi robes?
He is. He basically is.
Yeah.
There you go. Chris is happy
So-
man.
They're kind of a honey mustard. Let's be honest, guys. But Star Wars makes us a big W because Meg had the McKidd thing back over the summer of 2022. I can't remember now, but good job, Meg. And then
Good job, Meg.
And then thank you for the super chat, Frog Eater, which is I think which is a Grogu. Quick question, Jason. How can
That's a racist thing to say. But
what a Grogu?
It's an older racist joke, but it checks out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. All those green guys look the same to me. Quick question, Jason. How can the villains of Skeleton Crew be villains we met in Mando 3 when Jon Favreau said no Skeleton characters will debut in Mando? So, I mean,
I thought he meant the main characters. You know?
yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
do too.
I mean, it's like how much do you believe, exactly like what the PR line is on that kind of stuff? Like,
To be fair, you heard there was pirates, and when we saw pirates, you said it's a possibility it might be the same characters. It didn't come out there and go, "These are the ones," like.
well, no,
Probably.
well, Bespin heard that it is the same gang. Is that the best way to put it, dude? I don't know.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
gang probably.
And
Yeah.
then I know that it's the same mask and stuff like that are being used.
Yeah, well-
Frog Eater, just think Favreau also said that Book of Boba Fett was like the Godfather, and I'm still struggling to figure that one out.
Jason
Yeah.
also knows like one of my sources on this,
Mhm.
like which is kind of like which makes it very hard to be like, well, it should be accurate given what
Yeah.
I was told.
Yeah.
But again, Jason knows me. I do things multiple sources. Like, don't ever go with just one.
No. Yeah.
To his
no.
annoyance, like
No, every
know.
now and then he'll have like somebody that like without a doubt just can't be wrong about it and has been trusted. And he's like, "Oh, I need two," and I'm like, "On this one, I think you can go forward." But but
yeah,
it's
you were
like,
trying to tell me to do this with the pirates, like just
Mhm.
go, and I was like, nope. But like I held it for days until somebody else came forward and
yeah,
backed it up, and
Yeah.
the people who backed it up were, they were worth waiting for, I'd say.
yeah.
I do have something Mandalorian related. So
okay.
a Lego set was leaked. It's the Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor. It's coming out on the 1st of May, apparently. Now, there's been a lot of back and forth about this. So some accounts on Instagram were saying it was going to be revealed next week. But apparently it's not going to be because it's spoiler related. So basically, some people thought this was Bo-Katan's fighter, but it's not. It's a smaller Mandalorian fighter. And some people have been saying it comes with Moff Gideon and Sabine. And that's the implication. But that's separate from the other leaks. But some people have been saying that because it's going to be announced. Let me check the date. I think it's
April 25th, isn't it?
April 25th, yes, that's the date, is when it's going to be revealed, which would just be after an episode.
Yeah.
So-
we discussed it a little bit earlier when we broke down the likelihood of being Fenn Rau. I also did speak to some of those Lego people, and they apparently don't know who the minifigs are. A speculation on their part, but it's definitely the Fang Fighter. And given, Fenn Rau's connection to the Mandalorian protectors, the last surviving member, it's a good chance to see him, especially given that Jason as well shared for a while now that Kevin McKidd is back as Fenn Rau in this season.
Yeah. So when we take like that, like that's what when I wrote the article version of this article a long time ago, re-edited it last week. We were talking about it, and then we were going to put it out yesterday, and then ended up going with the art. We're like, let's go with the one with the art first, and then we'll go to the Fenn Rau. And we were talking about it up front because he was like, which one are you doing? But then that brick story hit today, and the people are like, oh, he's moving forward with the Fenn Rau story because of the brick story. But these things are just sort of, I hate the word, but is it kismet? is that the word? Am I using that right? But I think it, you know what I mean? It's like it just the way that I get this stuff lined up. Meg says a big win, and Meg says Star Wars leaks are already having a breakdown over it. They hate me there. Ha ha ha, dickheads. Yeah, the Star Wars leaks crowd is a unique bunch. I'm like, you know, I wish if they were gonna ban and block me from there and all of that shit and make me Voldemort, that they wouldn't just repost my articles by taking out like key letters to make it seem like it's notes when it's not. That's just literally, that's still plagiarism.
We
like
ban Voldemort, but we post his tweets, right? Like,
yeah,
because they're entertaining, but we ban them.
Yeah, or you know, sure. How about just get your head out of your ass? How about that, Star Wars leaks?
Yeah.
That's an idea, you know, especially because when me and my George Costanza buddy over here aren't doing shit, you're posting comic book updates and interviews where Dave Filoni doesn't say anything but talks in circles. You know what I mean? Like, at least you could at least be nice to me a little bit.
It's like the Lindelof thing today. It's from 2 days ago. No one picked up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, if, you know, these people don't really go out and look for anything. Like, it took 2 days for this little bit to come out, and it's like it's publicly on /film. Like, they tweeted about it, no one cares until it was someone eventually found it, posted it on there.
And what was that?
Mando's ratings days ago, you know.
It's the thing I sent you earlier. It's he was asked if he's working on a Star Wars project, and then he said that basically he'd only do it if he could get it right.
Oh, okay.
But everyone's like saying it's like, this is what we need before Celebration. It's like, he didn't really say much. He was like avoiding saying stuff.
Yeah, but again,
speak.
But it's like Sean Levy. Like, he was reported through the trades last year, right, to be doing a Star Wars movie. Luke somehow haven't come out to confirm that, but he's been going around saying, "Yeah, I'm doing it." You know,
Yeah.
So I think it's fair game for Lindelof to at least acknowledge it. It's like the worst kept secret at the moment. It's likely his movie that's coming out in 2025. It's just, I have lower expectations for Celebration. I don't know about you, like, in terms of announcements anyway. Mm-hmm. You know, I just think we'll get updates on everything we already know about, especially on the live action television side. And then in terms of movies, again, it'll likely just be Lindelof. Maybe they'll confirm Levy, and maybe they'll give an update on Taika. You know, I don't know, but
I'll take that because there's not going to be a Celebration for 2 years. Like, if there was one next year, I feel like, there's going to be way more next year, and you know, Orlando's going to get like something great, but there's not going to be one for 2 years. So this is the big opportunity to say stuff, because next year they'll have D23 and Investor Day, which is always crap. So
where else are you going to be able to get a $300 Ewan McGregor signature? Huh? Come on.
Oh, speaking of which, they
300. You're being kind. I think it's in at 5.
Katie Sackhoff, Giancarlo, and one of the others, Mandalorian, has cancelled their Friday photos and signings, all of them. So it's just a bit interesting that those 3 specifically have all been cancelled.
Due to low ratings,
they all sold out as well. So I'd imagine there are. Is this something Mando happening that day?
Maybe they're gonna make an announcement about the season 4 or something. Which is kind of weird because he's already done it. He's already done it a bunch of times. So I don't know how that would make sense.
And like, I don't know, they've got certain time slots. So the panels in the morning, I think the signings and stuff tends to happen in the afternoon. So I don't know what that's about, but all of those 3 have been specifically cancelled for the Friday. So they'll just have, I can't remember who was the third, but they're all Mandalorian. So That was a bit strange.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, there's definitely something there. That's a lot of money to like throw away, like all
And they've
of
like
them.
it's really strange because they should have known about this, unless it's like a bit of a last minute change, because they have been taking like purchases for a couple of weeks now, and like that they would have known, like unless Reed Pop just didn't have any communication with Lucasfilm, which
But
is possible, but
we see this often with other conventions, though, right? They'll sign up to do a
that is true,
day
yeah.
and then they'll pull out. Usually, it's tied to maybe reshoots or like work-related stuff in Manhattan Beach. But at this current time, there's nothing for them.
Well,
do
they're
that
doing
for.
stuff. The Saturday and Sunday are still happening. It's just the Friday that they've all pulled out of. So yeah, it's very strange considering they just started taking orders a couple of weeks ago. Now they cancel. Like Celebration 2019, the only one to pull out was Riz Ahmed because he was unwell, and that was like the day before. Other than that, it happened. So
yeah, because it's like at that point, I would highly doubt they could do any kind of secret shooting. You know what I mean? Or unless they're, I mean, let's just theorize. What could they do?
It's Carl Weathers, the third one.
Carl Weathers. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're like those characters wouldn't all be. I was like, they could do some kind of like shoot something for 4 while they're in the UK at a location that they can never get to otherwise, and like do it then. But all those characters would never be all together in the same scene in the same place for the same thing. So that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. So yeah.
Mr. Nick gave me a 199 super pound chat, and it says, "As a true and Bessie, this is nice." So what's Rob? Is Rob a piece of shit? Rob just a piece of shit now?
Yes. Just
Rob
send me read
what
the
I mean,
comments. Like you'll see it.
Man, why does Nick hate you, Rob? That's what I want to know.
I'm with Rob. Fuck Nick. You know, I'm with Rob.
Oh shit!
Both Nick and Bespin were batting each other each time yesterday. It was great.
Yesterday I kicked him off the podcast. He's done. He's gone. You know, he's just trying to get on my good side now. You know?
I mean, is it working? I mean, it seems
no.
I mean, it seems like.
Ask him if I replied to any of his texts today. I don't know.
Well, Nick, did you write it? Did you reply to any of his texts today?
No, I didn't reply to his. Like, he's gone.
I like how Bespin has to say it and then Jason has to repeat it.
Well, they're not talking, so I have to do it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
He's abandoned us on Fortnite as well, Jason.
He has.
I don't blame him.
That's my human shield, man. I've been taking a lot of shots to the head and the butt. Like,
it's gonna be my favorite thing in a week or two, when I can log onto the Xbox and see you guys playing Fortnite and still refuse to play. I'll go. Hey, what's up, guys?
No.
Not playing.
Come on, Rob, just join us. Join us for 1 day, 1 hour.
Yeah, just,
No.
It's like going to the coffee shop and you're just like hanging out. You're just like, hey, how's it going? I'm drinking a soda. You know, whatever. Drink water.
You love
whatever
Friends,
you want.
right, Jason? They got a whole show based on hanging out at the coffee shop.
Well, you like
go.
Friends, so you could be fucking Phoebe or Chandler, whoever one of those weirdos is, and you could be them, and I'll be them, and you know, whatever. Yeah, we could do it. I'll be like, hey, look, it's the 1990s. Everybody's addicted to heroin, but we're best friends. You know, we do something like that.
Was it heroin?
Oh yeah, 90s was heroin, man. That was yeah. But that's why we don't have like Lane Stanley or Kurt Cobain or even that fucking idiot from Blind Melon. Even he didn't make it.
I
forgot
about that.
Yeah, sorry, B girl. No follow-up video for you.
Crash test dummies. That wasn't heroin, right? He just
no. That was probably just boredom. Just boredom mostly.
Mono. The one time Mono killed somebody was.
You think Weird Al regrets doing the parody of that one? Because like that one today, the song, you hear the song and like nobody's like, "What's this a parody of?" But
I know that's my favorite Weird Al song.
Is it really? Or you just
no?
Okay.
I Lost on Jeopardy is probably my favorite.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, well, have we done it, or do we got more to hit on? You guys got places to bleed?
I think that's it. Celebration tickets are going out. I've got an email saying they're coming soon. So
they have
that's
shit.
Good. The artwork's pretty good this time, better than the last few. I think there's
It
a lot
is.
of variety.
Yeah, Yeah,
People were
I
pretty
Stepping
upset
away
though.
from
There was
they're always
Ray,
up-
there was
they're always upset.
Sabine, there was anything that isn't Mando or Return of the Jedi. They were not too
Yeah.
pleased about. But
Well, what they like one of the things that comes up that I've seen in that discourse around it is they hate the prequels. And it's like, no, it's just that there's actually, like, when you look at what's considered prequel content at the moment, it's not actually prequel content. Like, it's like, like Survivor is kind of has prequel elements into it, but
Yeah.
like we don't actively have something in the prequel era coming out. Everything that's in there is promoting something in the very recent past or in the very recent, like, on the horizon for the most part, or is active.
And there's Ahsoka and stuff like that. And to be honest, the fact that we're getting a 15th anniversary Clone Wars panel for Celebration is going to be good for fans. Like, most people assume there wouldn't be anything, but there's something. And the last time they did a Celebration special panel, like for the anniversary, was they announced season 7. So maybe, I don't think there will be like more Clone Wars, but who knows what they'll say at that panel. Chris
asks, as it true, are you going to the future of Lucasfilm panel?
I hope so. I've entered the lottery, so we shall see. I will have my phone.
Yeah, he says you will have to tweet.
I'll tweet it out.
Yeah,
don't worry. If I'm there, I've entered the panel with a couple of friends, and we'll just have to hope.
Is the future of Lucasfilm not live streamed, or is that one live streamed?
Well, they didn't say.
I don't think.
Well, they said there's going to be live streamed panels, but I'd assume it's going to be like last time where they just cut out stuff.
Yeah.
But didn't they say some certain panels that's getting live streamed? It's likely not going to be this one.
The 4 panels they've selected are quite interesting. Like, I thought so. It's the future of Lucasfilm, Ahsoka, the villains of the sequel trilogy, and Bad Batch. I thought one of the others, I can't remember which, like the Clone Wars panel,
one,
or the Obi-Wan Kenobi one, would have been lottery, but it's not. So it's the one that surprised me the most was the villains of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah,
it's not like they're not going to announce anything new there.
No.
But yeah, so that's strange. But
they always do one. They always do a big one that's just legacy based. Like that's where that kind of stuff does happen.
Yeah,
so
the 40th anniversary. I thought the 40th anniversary one was going to be that one because they haven't announced who's going to turn up. So I know it's over here, but maybe there's a chance like someone major is going to be there, but I don't know. We'll see.
Gwendolyn Christie is going to be there, right?
Yeah, for the villains of the sequel.
For the villain one, yeah.
It's
so that's cool.
Andy Serkis and
McDermott as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's cool. I don't know if Adam Driver would show up to
no,
because he seemed to have. I would, there was that rumor that Harrison Ford has like social anxiety. I've seen Kylo Ren actor have a lot of like, I don't like being in front of this audience and this is weird, like moments like over the years. So I don't expect that we'll see him going to Celebration until he's like, in his late 50s and he's gone through a divorce and took all the money and he needs to.
Don't say that. The Raylos will be very happy.
Oh yeah, they will. Those maniacs.
Like, they tried to ruin his life. Like,
I heard that during episode 9 he left the Jordan shoot a little bit early because of weirdness that was going on.
Yeah.
Behind. Yeah.
Like there is, I see pictures like it. Sometimes they'll go like pop up in my algorithm, and it'll be pictures of Adam and someone in like New York, like when there was filming in Jordan, and people say it's Daisy when it isn't, and the Raylos think it's Daisy because he was having an affair and stuff, and it's like that's like their money shot. Like that they left Jordan early, like everyone was in Jordan filming whilst they left, and like that's what they torment his wife with, and it's like.
What's funny is when he did leave early and they needed to use they had like a double like for him, but then they needed a double like a In-N-Out doggy style burger for Dave Filoni, and but a lady was his double for a couple of moments. I don't know if they made it into the film or not, but they had to use a lady who was tall.
Might have seen pictures or something like that. Like
really?
I feel like I've seen something
Yeah.
So yeah,
See,
I was like, oh,
Jason,
that's surprising.
this is the problem when you try to chase an audience. You go, we want that Twilight crowd, forgetting how psychotic the Twilight crowd was against the two main actors in that series, right?
Well,
And then when that crowd
They
comes
were
over
going
to
for
your
Hunger
fucking
Games.
audience,
No, they were going
What?
for Hunger Games. I don't know if Twilight.
yeah, but they wanted
factored.
Twilight. That's the same. Hunger Games and Twilight's the same
Okay.
crowd. Maybe they were shooting for Hunger Games, but they got the Twilighters, and those cats came over here, the Twilits or the Twitwits, whatever you want to call them, man.
The
And now
Twits.
these poor actors got to be dealing with this bullshit, like for the remainder of their careers.
It makes me laugh because the Rise of Skywalker was their end point. Like that's what, like when they saw the ending of that film, they was like, "We're done with Star Wars." But they still, much like the people they also hate on the other side, are still complaining about the Rise of Skywalker and Star Wars and still consuming it, even though they vowed to I'm done with Kathleen Kennedy and JJ. They ruined Star Wars for me, like because they was a fan because of the Force Awakens, and then because Rise of Skywalker ended how I wanted it to, but not for them. Like went the wrong way for them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, he was going to die. It was obvious. Like,
Yeah,
then when you
yeah.
leaked it, and I can't believe it. Like, I was like, yes, I feel validated. Like, I was like, I'm getting the ending I want. And then I just saw all the people attacking you. I was like, oh no.
Do you like The Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Star Wars films.
Okay, you're the only like person in real life that's ever said this.
See, here's
Why?
We all have our faults, right, Bespin?
people.
No,
some
no,
people
I
I
know.
know.
I'm just curious.
So-
I'm just curious.
Like some
why you like
casual
it.
people like that, like the newer films, just like them all. Like they don't
Mm.
rank them. Like, I don't rank my films. Like I find ranking stupid. Like it's the most stupid thing a Star Wars fan can do because you can just like them all. Like I just do. I say Attack of the Clones is my least favorite, but I still like some of it. But I used to put it as one of my favorites when I was younger. I used to hate the Phantom Menace because when I was like 8 or 9 or whatever, the internet was saying how bad it was. And I was like, oh, it must be that bad then. Like, I only watched it like once. I like Return of the Jedi. But
Yeah.
now
I know.
I like it.
I'm just curious because I dislike the movie, like quite passionately. But anytime I've ever like talked about it on like the podcast, people always send messages and they're like, you're too harsh, blah blah blah. And I'm like, well, tell me what you like about it. And nobody's ever had a real conversation with me to tell me what they enjoy about it because I want to see it from somebody else's perspective. Like I want
For
to
me,
understand what somebody else enjoys.
I've only seen people be harsh on it, like think it's
Yeah.
like the worst thing to ever exist. But to me, I went in after like the Force Awakens, like before the Last Jedi. I wanted like this certain ending, like Rey,
Mhm.
Binary Sunset, BB-8, Kylo dies. There's a massive battle, like the galaxy comes together. Like I got a lot of the stuff I wanted happen, and like I didn't think Palpatine would come back, but I really liked what him fighting Rey and stuff like that. Like that I really liked that aspect. I know a lot of people don't like the like persona and things like that, but to me, it felt like because the group was together, it felt like a traditional start, like the original trilogy, like the original crew together. Like, I like that stuff. That's what I wanted in The Last Jedi, and we didn't get that. Even though I like Last Jedi, because Finn, Poe, and Rey was split up so much, but we got a lot of that in the Rise of Skywalker, so I like that.
That's fair.
So,
Yeah,
I mean,
no, I'm just curious. Like nobody
Yeah.
ever gives me an answer as to why they like it, and I
Bernie
genuinely
Man.
want to know.
I think it's because whenever we say we like something, then we get attacked for like that for every little point, like how bad it is.
No,
No.
that whole situation back then was crazy. I didn't really know Jason that well then. We were going back and forth on what we'd heard about the Rise of Skywalker. That's when I started doing this crap. And I remember when he said that Ben Solo died, the amount of death threats I was sent just for covering his stuff about it, I was like, yeah, well, this is fun,
Yeah. They were maniacs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it was crazy.
Literal maniacs.
And they're all the ones that aren't completely done with Star Wars genuinely think the world between worlds is going to bring him back in the next couple of years. It's going to all change, and this is what the Mandalorian is leading to. Like the Ahsoka series, it's basically Dave fixing JJ's sins, but no, it's Thrawn. It's not Ben Solo at the other end, even though they think it is.
Yeah, no, and like what kind of goes on, like I know a bit of the like structure of Ahsoka, and there's nothing about the Ahsoka series, which is going to be our World Between Worlds moment where this is about retconning, and this is a retcon device. It's completely not used that way.
Yeah,
It's
no.
it's
Anyone
it's like,
saying it's retcon's stupid.
yeah, I would say it's more akin to the magic mirror on the wall. You know what I mean? Kind of thing where, the witch who looks into the cauldron and sees something and sees stuff. Like I've talked about the Anakin moment, like the alternate, the futures that could have been and past that might have been but never was and stuff like that. It's not like, oh, here we go, let's straight up like just change the movies. That's not what it's going to do. Sorry if that's what they wanted. But yeah, like when I did that article, I'm like, look, I hear he dies, and like right now I got nothing saying he gets back up. Like the kiss at the time when I reported, I don't even think it was filmed, because the thing about it was that was filmed in Los Angeles, I believe.
Yeah, they did it at the Bad Robot HQ.
So when I had that, like what I'm reporting is like true. And then I said, I don't know. I said he might. That's the ending I want. But oh, they were fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I genuinely can vividly remember it, because I just wanted to know I was right, and some people I knew kept telling me I was wrong for like years. And I was like, I know I'm right. I'm getting everything I want. So when I go and watch it, I'm going to be happy. And then I just remember literally no one was happy that was looking at the leaks. I'm like, I don't know, but this is perfect to me. This is what I've been waiting for. So I was going into it happy.
That was my take from the minute I reported that Kylo Ren killed Han Solo, and that we knew it was the son. And I'm like, there's no way this character gets to do Starkiller Base and kill Han Solo, and then atones in a way where he lives. He's gonna.
I was told by
but
a friend that I don't speak to anymore because he went off the rails because of Star Wars. Like adamantly for years, it's going to be Rey and Kylo having kids at the end and blah blah blah, and Solo's going to defeat. It wasn't Palpatine, but like Snow. He's going to be the big hero. Episode 9 is going to be all about him. He's fine. He gets off, and I'm like, no, just because Vader became a ghost doesn't mean he gets a better like ending. Like he should still die. And I was like, I'm looking forward. I know these leaks are going to be true. I sat and watched it at midnight, and I was like, that's perfect. That's my ending. So.
See, like episode 9 for me is like if it was like a record, and like each track on the record I like, but I don't think those tracks make a good record. Like that's how the movie is for me.
I know what you mean. How I see it is they had so many issues going into it with like Carrie dying. Like that for me is people say that is an issue, and I'm like, what was this supposed to do? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like they had a hard issue like that affected
what
they could have done with it.
They had the answer, but they didn't have the time, and the answer was to make Maz Kanata do the Carrie part. And have Maz Kanata actually, but that was the truth is that they didn't have the turnaround time in terms of the VFX, and I don't think it would have happened.
I remember when it was me, you, and Jedi Paxis, right? We're all independently sharing leaks from Tross, right? And I remember like at the time when we basically had a full outline close to the end of the movie from start to finish. It was like I was reading, I was like, I don't hate this, I don't dislike it. But I was confident things were going to be filled in, and like it was all about execution. And I was like, so you're leaving some wiggle room, like it could be fine. And then seeing it, even though I'd known the plot for months, it was just so disappointing for me. Like how they executed what they were trying to do. Like I don't agree with certain story beats. Like I don't like the Rey Skywalker stuff. Not the scene that she says the words, but I don't like that they took her from being a nobody to being the clone granddaughter of Palpatine and all that stuff, and she just takes the Skywalker mantle. I don't like that at all. I don't like how they handle Palpatine. I think the final confrontation between Palpatine, Ben, and Rey is terrible for me. Mm-hmm. Like at the time when we were speculating when we had Matt Smith might be involved, if that was say Matt Smith in that scene when he gets rejuvenated, you could have had a bit more of a fight. But it's instead just Rey just pushing back against the Force lightning and evaporating him. And again, because of how they set up that he literally got thrown down a shaft and blown up once, and he came back. Like, you're not entirely convinced that this guy is dead. Like,
See, to me, I know a
because
lot of
of
people
this.
want a lightsaber fight, but like, even though Palpatine has the lightsaber in Revenge of the Sith, like to me, Palpatine is ultimate is with Force lightning, like doing stuff with, not
Oh yeah, I
using a
don't even.
lightsaber.
Yeah, I don't even want him to have a full-on lightsaber fight, but it could have just made something a bit more exciting in those moments for me. Like even like how they handled the Knights of Ren, I think were done poorly. Like JJ just thought, oh, people think these are cool, we'll just plop them in. Like they don't really do anything.
They should have
So I
been
think
something in The Last Jedi as well. Like, I don't know, that they should have been a consistent thing throughout.
like
They needed a couple of lines, and I think that there was even some stuff that may have been cut, like when they're doing the mask, when they're getting the mask fixed, like from like the way that the scenes were like described to me, it was like this is going to help you do what we got to get done here. And when you watch the movie, they're just like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude, we're getting new clothes. It was like the scene in the mall where they go and they go buy new clothes and then they turn around and then they're like, it's a new day, for them, but the bad guy version of that. And there was every time I did like a report at the time about like the Star Destroyers and stuff like that, I'm like, there's no explanation that I know of, but I'm assuming it's this and that. And then like when the movie comes out, you think it's actually going to be there. I'm like, we're going to kind of imply it's magic, but we're not going to really say that, so you can't get mad at us. That's kind of what they did.
yeah, it was just like hearing everything we did. It was just like, oh well, you're gonna leave wiggle room for the execution of the movie that we're probably missing some context, and we didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
see, for me, man, a director's job is to make decisions, like a billion decisions. It's really hard. You go, oh, make a decision. It's very difficult. You're approving things all the time.
Like Taco Bell, McDonald's. What am I gonna do? I don't know. They both sound good right now.
And this movie is filled with half-baked choices that don't really go one way or the other half the time. I mean, do we have Lando's daughter? Do we not have Lando's daughter? I don't know. Just in the movie, let fans. Are we on Endor or not on Endor? I don't know. We're not really.
No, we're not.
Are they get together or not really get together? Well, they kind of. I mean, it's sort of,
Was there time?
Is he alive or
not really?
Is Palpatine alive or dead? Well, he's sort of both. He's falling apart, but he's walking around. It's just there is no. It's just there's no real decisions made. And so
it's like when you say, hey, you want to go back to my place? And then they're like, why? You think we're going to have sex? And you're like, if you want to, but is that what you mean? It's like that. Every decision is like, so they go, oh, well, no, that's not what I meant. Like if it's the wrong answer, like everything is like, no. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So is it the worst movie I've ever seen? Not even in the top 20. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in terms of like a Star Wars film, it's at the bottom for me. And I'll tell you why. And this is crazy, even if you hate the prequels or not. But it's because there isn't one memorable scene. I can't put on a scene and go, that's the one for Rob. There's nothing. It's shot incredibly well. But there isn't. Even I would think the Harrison Ford bit would be it, but he's not really a ghost. He's not really a memory. We couldn't decide what we wanted to do.
Well,
JJ was
do
afraid
you like
the
that
internet would
ghost?
complain. Yeah, Carrie's sort of in the movie, but not in the movie. We had an opening scene where she was training with Luke, but then we don't have the open. But we're still on the same planet. But we're not really. And I can't. And look, this is a personal bias, but I've been dealing with Star Wars titles that have the word Rise in it since Ain't It Cool News, right? In like 2000, 2001.
Rise of the Empire. Trust me, it's called that.
Yeah, and look, when JJ finally put it in a movie, I'm like, you dick. Come on, man. Like, don't put the last. First off, if you're gonna put Rise in a Star Wars title, don't make it the last movie. Like, it's just weird. And Skywalker should never be in the title of a Star Wars film. I'm sorry. I just fundamentally disagree with that take. It's like Rise of the Calrissians, like don't.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Don't. It's not a race of people, like it's just I don't know, man. But I get why, like if you put that movie against Joss Whedon's Justice League. I mean, Joss Whedon's Justice League's fucking Citizen Kane compared to Rise of Skywalker.
Now you sound fucking high.
Oh no, I would have gone the other way. Yeah,
you sound fucking high to me.
I'd rather
Joss
watch
Whedon's
Rise of
Justice
Skywalker
League.
any day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Justice League is such a Justice League is a fundamentally broke experience. I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't say it's the worst movie ever made because Justice League is arguably, in my opinion, it's not even a movie. Like it's like a.
Did you call it
it's like a
Justice
sizzler
League?
reel. Yeah, Justice League. Yeah.
Linda
You
Lost
never
and
heard
Justice
that?
League.
I
No,
didn't. I didn't make that up. That's been going
Okay.
around for a while, but that's my whole thing. Director's job is to make decisions, and JJ, for whatever reason, but can't make decisions.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, and this isn't new. If I love Super 8, but we can all agree, I think, that the design of that alien, right, is the lead, or the creature is non-existent. He couldn't, and I've had friends that worked on that, and I'm like, on the monster specifically, not like they were set dressers, and I'm like, what happened? He's like, he couldn't decide. And I'm like, oh, you motherfucker, for real? Like, this is not like me pandering.
Yeah. Did you know that JJ stands for Jennifer Jackson? Jennifer Jackson Abrams is his full name.
No.
Okay.
I didn't know what
Sorry.
it was.
I'm gonna let you dig that.
Sorry,
hole,
everybody's
Jason.
like,
yeah, I'm gonna let you dig that hole. It's your
I
Jennifer-
also
come on, Jennifer Jackson Abrams.
Rise of Skywalker isn't my least favorite movie either. My least favorite movie is Attack of the Clones. Like, I also don't want to feel like we're harping on Astro because he likes the movie. I don't want that to be a thing.
There's a difference between saying something actually like, you know, a proper criticism versus it's just awful. Disney ruined Star Wars. I hate it for the like didn't make any sense. Blah blah. Like that's you know, this is, you know, criticism that makes sense. Like I just liked it. You know, I like the
why it
name.
isn't
I
Attack of the Clones.
That's fair.
But here's for me why it isn't, right? Because, and this is like, there's a few things in Attack of the Clones that surprisingly you'll remember with fond. First off, with fond experience. I have friends, older people, right? My buddy who even passed away, who was like 11 years older than me, hated all the prequels. I mean, he was like 30 when they came out. He's like, this is ridiculous. Hated Jedi. Even up until his death, he would go, I'm just a man trying to make my way in the universe. Like, they quote that movie. The sound design of like his shock bombs, right? Like when you're on the Star Tours ride or when they appeared in Mando, people are like,
Yeah.
you know, like they do remember that stuff. Right. See, like it's just like that. So like there's memorable things in that movie that have transcended into pop culture.
I liked those things growing up, but my age group has ruined the prequels for me in a way because they won't stop saying the stupid memes. Like I liked that, and now they've made it worse for me because everything's a joke. Everything's got to be a funny, a meme or something, and like that makes me less enjoy that. Like I can't stand looking at some of the stuff. Like I love Revenge of the Sith, but I'm not going to go out of my way and watch it all the time like these people do. They just want to see Order 66 over and over again. Like it's ruined their minds. Like
those fucking psychopaths. I like people getting snuck up on and killed. It makes me really hard.
They think they're Anakin. I think
they literally sound like Infowars right now, Jason. It's not even a joke. Like,
I like it when it's a sneak attack. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, I don't like it when memes appear in Star Wars either, which is why we come to the dark side. We have cookies. You know, throws Rob off quite a bit. You know, in the latest episode of Mando, like it, or the It's a Trap was the one that got me. Like I had people going, "Why don't you like the show, Rob?" I'm like, I think the writing it falls into a C category when you have a dramatic moment where a guy's going to get mind flared, or he thinks he is, and he looks at a Mon Cal and then makes It's a Trap joke. Like I'm sorry, I fundamentally no, but you can't say that you don't want memes in your Star Wars as a true, and then you're like, that's funny.
I don't want memes. It's what people of my age has done to like the I know the dialogue's not great, but like I used to use prequel memes back in like 2013, 2014 when the prequels were the hated, but then since the release of The Force Awakens, it's become like the opposite. Like they, you know, the people that they hated on, and they're now them. Like, and it's just a cycle that repeats. It will repeat itself.
But thinking of like memes, don't you think that the Mandalorian like leans into it? Like I have heard, like, and I think Jason has as well, that Jon Favreau loves the memes. Like he's on set and like looks at the memes and shows them to people.
Yeah.
Like he's a fan.
I can see that working more so with a TV show because it's episodic, and whereas a film, it's like, I don't know, Star Wars is a film, like it's this thing in time. Like this is why I wouldn't have wanted the Rise of Skywalker delayed, like made better, like because COVID happened, we wouldn't have got the film. I wouldn't have been able to go to the cinema and experience it like a true Star Wars thing. It would have just not been the end of the saga for me. Like it was a moment in time that I loved.
It would have brought drive-ins back though.
Here's the meme that worked though. Like puns, memes work better when they're under the radar. The cookies one, Jason had to spell that one out for me. I'm like, that's smart, right? Like I get it, fine, because you could never know that and understand what's going on in the story. It's a trap part. That's a dad pun.
Rob,
like, you're just shoving that joke in front
I'm
of
meeting
us.
you in the middle on this one. I feel like once it wasn't that it's a trap part that was the problem. It was the idea that we're going to have Amro Akbar be the mind wiper. Once you do that, you have deflated all of the like drama out of the moment, and you've inherently made it less serious, less funny, because it's a fucking giant like calamari.
And he's got a Big Thunder Mountain voice. He's got the same voice when you go on Big Thunder Mountain. He goes, "Hello, we're on the wildest ride in the wilderness. Go and get a mind flare." No, it's pretty good. I did it with myself last week.
I would have had the tentacle guy, the Twi'lek who does the dial. I would have had that probably be the person who does the flare, even though it's like still kind of a comical looking creature. And then I would have had the Mon Call have been the doctor who turns the dial. I think if you switch those things, I think the scene starts to play better.
The concept art, though, Jason, the concept art that plays for that scene at the end of the episode is how you do the scene.
Yeah.
The shot. Go look at the concept art. How that's laid out. That's it. You put them in those costumes. You do that set. That's how you do it. But whatever.
Speaking of concept art, Juno Eclipse from The Force Unleashed was used for Kane in the concept art, and I posted it on an account I run. Like, not saying like Juno Eclipse was supposed to be her. Like, I thought that was fairly, given the time frame, stuff like that. But no, it blew up, and 1,000 people think they replaced Juno Eclipse.
Yeah.
They cut her out, like, for someone else. And I'm like, I put the name of the character, and they're like, who's that? And I was like, the character in the episode. They're like, oh, I haven't watched it yet. And why did they remove? And I'm like, okay. So I kept using the example that they used Daisy's face for Cara Dune. And then someone also brought up Jin was used for Book of Boba Fett. And people are like, huh, why would they? And I'm like, I literally said, artists do that to speed up the process. They've done it a bunch of times. They've changed something in the Mandalorian season 3. It was meant to be Juno. What are they doing? Like Disney, Lucasfilm can't make a decision. I'm like, no. It's like,
well, this is
like,
also
canonize Starkiller now, and it's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
This is something that I put on not just Lucasfilm but studios in general. They don't explain or do a good job of explaining how visual effects are made. Like when they do put together a piece, it's usually some fluff, like some guy on a computer, and then the production designer's talking to you, an art director's talking to you, and they just show pictures of the actors talking. They don't actually show the process. And I think the making of the Attack of the Clones is a really good documentary, just for seeing the tediousness of artists, like when Homeboy had to like reanimate Yoda, saying that begun the Clone Wars has for like 6 months, just because George wanted some weird inflection, but like that happens. Well, that is the process.
Someone bought the Art of Star Wars book and did an article for me, and they were like, oh my God, Anakin Skywalker was like in the art in The Force Awakens. Like he was like, it was like a concept at one point. And then Pablo Hidalgo comes down to just berates this kid, going like, you don't understand what blue sky means and all this shit. And it's like, you know what? Actually, your book did a very shit job of conveying exactly what was going on there. That's actually you not educating your audience in a way that makes it super clear.
Yeah, and like the whole chapter could have been laid out blue sky / ideation, because that's what they call it now. They used to call it blue sky, but since Blue Sky Studios kind of came and went, they stopped using that term. They call it ideation now. Okay. So that's the phase before there's a script, before there's any ideas. You put out anything you could to see what sticks on the wall. And that's my favorite part of like a project. Yeah. Some artists don't like it because they feel like there's no direction, but that's when I can get like all the crazy ideas that I could never convince people on, because you have to let them see into your idea. You don't have to like pitch anything to them. Like later on in production, when you want to do something, you have to pitch the reason why, how it's going to fit in, how this fits the thing they're already doing. So, if that thing had just been laid out, blue sky, ideation, and a little blurb saying what that is, this is when artists before there's anything done, we go, hey, what are the wildest cool ideas we could come up with, and maybe this will spark something. And this is, like, and that stuff. But they don't do that. They don't explain this at all.
George Lucas had an idea that like I always go back to in some way in my head, and it was like a guy I knew who had dinner with him during Revenge of the Sith and was like told like his alternate ideas for where the sequel trilogy was going to go. That he's like, it's Revenge of the Sith. Like George Lucas is taking like a bunch of people out to dinner each night, like as the production is winding down and like as people are like leaving and stuff. And like, they're kind of like, he's just talking about, well, this is the end, that's how he felt at the time. And kind of pull in what Dell's saying. I don't have a problem with them bringing back Ben. I don't think it's through the World Between Worlds or even Ahsoka. It's probably going to be Leia who sends them back to the Living Force or something like that. Well, like if George Lucas was doing it, his idea was originally that Anakin was cloned during the Clone Wars because it was about cloning people and all of this, who's real and who's the real one and stuff like that kind of stuff. And then it was going to be that Anakin was put into carbonite during a fight, or the clone was, and it was going to be Luke who finds the clone of his father, unfreezes him, and then he's like, but he has the memories of the real Anakin, who's like, what the fuck have I done? But then Anakin and Luke were going to come back together and bring the Jedi into the future through that clone, and that was going to be like the big twist. And then the Mandalorians were going to be brought into the end battle of Return of the Jedi, for instance, and that was going to be how they took down the Empire. Like that was like where Lucas's mind was at one point. It was like what he was saying. And like, so there's like all kinds of weird Star Wars science fiction-y kind of stuff that the right creator could handle. That could be handled poorly. I totally can see it being a shit show, but I could also see like the right people bringing back Ben Solo in a creative way that's unique and like, whoa, what the fuck? Like in a fun way, better than like somehow Ben Solo has returned. It's just like, hey guys,
Yeah.
Ray, you want to do it?
Yeah.
I think like the difference is like Palpatine's Palpatine. Like
Baymax said it already. Sorry, man.
He's the greatest evil. Well, yeah, Ben Solo is the son of Han and Leia, but
the globalist great Satan of Star Wars is what you're saying.
He just doesn't carry the same. He doesn't have the same power as Palpatine, like to come back. If like that's just how I see it. Like Palpatine's the one that can come back. This is why I don't want people like Mace Windu to come back. Like they've got like had Bane's not been dead. Like it needs to stop at some point. Like it's got to stop. Like, you can't just keep bringing people back.
Well,
like
there's like dead and then there's presumed dead. Like Cad Bane, that one I'm giving a presumed dead personally. I'm like the lights on, they don't do a arm fell down, he's dead like that. They didn't do that scene like that one. That's one where you're like, that's dramatic conceit. Throwing down somebody down a shaft and then seeing an explosion come at your face and then everybody's fucking cheering and throwing down statues of him. They're telling you he's dead.
And then his essence traveled across the galaxy into the unknown regions and then inhabited the body of a clone.
I haven't came that hard in years, but I know where he's coming from.
The answer to episode 9, the answer to episode 9 was let Ryan write it. I'm sorry, that's the answer.
No, it's right.
Because the curveballs that he threw in The Last Jedi were things he should have solved, because he's been part of productions like Breaking Bad where they always write themselves in the corners and they have ways of getting out of it. They're used to that. J.J. Abrams is not used to writing himself out of corners. Like, he's just not that kind of writer. Like, he makes things very explicit, very simple. It's on the floor. It's on the table. It's not going any deeper than that. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but when he has to pick up, like if J.J. Abrams had to pick up a cliffhanger from Mission Impossible 2, it would have never have worked, like that movie completed and he had to have his own, sort of movie. You could never see Mission Impossible 2, see Mission Impossible 3 and be fine. You don't need to,
You think when JJ first saw 7 and the head was, the box and what's in the box, you think he was like, fucking mystery box, man. There it is. I love this movie. This movie's fucking so good. No?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's too busy building models to watch 7.
Oh, I saw that. You guys see those pictures? It was like JJ and Spielberg. Who else was there? Somebody else was there with him.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro was there, and they were was that for a bit, or was it organic? Like, were they
No,
really just being cool
It's
friends?
organic. Yeah,
Oh,
they
okay.
go to this little hobby shop and buy models, and they have a model kit club.
Hmm.
But it's also
Yeah.
with like JJ, he has a problem with third acts specifically. Like this is obviously in a trilogy. The last one is the third act of a trilogy, and
Right.
we brought up Super 8 earlier. My biggest problem with Super 8 is the third act. I don't think that's where the movie falls short for me. I think it's great up until then. You know,
He doesn't know how to make. He doesn't make decisions. In the third act,
No.
you have to come down resolute, and he doesn't. He plays this timey-wimey game, this mimby-pamby. Maybe that's what you saw. Maybe that's what you didn't see. You know,
that's the problem with the quote mystery box ambiguity game, is that like the methodology is so flawed that in never saying anything firmly, it kind of makes it where there is no right answer in some ways,
but that means he fundamentally
have a great answer already, but usually he doesn't.
But that's where he fundamentally missed the point of a MacGuffin. The point of a MacGuffin is to never find out what it is, because it's not the point. The point is that it throws the series into motion, but then you have to focus on the characters. The character's journey is what the whole point of the end of the story is. And it's played to perfection in Pulp Fiction, where you have a MacGuffin that's clearly not the point of Pulp Fiction. You know what I mean? And at the end, it's 100% about the characters, you know? Like,
so maybe we should change the MacGuffin to a Monster Energy drink. Huh? No? Okay. All right, guys. All right. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I got to pee, so we're going to go. We'll be back Monday. With
a new trailer.
As it's true, if you're not busy cutting videos at that time, which I understand if you are, but if you're not, come hang out with us.
I'll have the video out because it comes out at 4 p.m. my time. So, yeah, I should be on.
Nice. Yeah, so we'll see As It's True Monday. This is Mr. Bespin. I hope everybody buys you a copy who reads your site. I think they should. I think if they do, you'll go to Celebration. That's what I think.
Your badge is on its way.
Fucking freeloaders, man. You know, like.
What's your hot on?
I don't. Yeah, with Celebration, I hope to go. I'd love to meet As True and hang out, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope you get to go. And Mr. Rob, I'll talk to you in a bit, man. Thanks for getting up early on short notice.
See you in the comments. Like,
see you in the comments.
Rob didn't like Rise of Skywalker. This shithead don't like no Star Wars.
No, everyone's in agreement with you. I'm the one that.
No, As It's True, they won't. You don't know how this works. Like, send me your hate. Send it.
Hey, listen. Jennifer Jackson Abrams has made some movies, and some people like it, some people don't. It's okay. I like what he does overall, but I'm also done with what he does, and I hope he doesn't do any more in the Star Wars universe.
I thank him for ending Star Wars as I wanted it to.
I thank him for creating Ochi of Bestoon.
Yes, that's
what Carl Weathers calls him, right, Jason? Action
what?
Jennifer Jackson.
Oh, I like that.
Jennifer Jackson.
Action Jennifer Jackson Abrams. A Star Wars story.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.
Hey!